All right, hello everybody, and welcome to episode number 29. We're already up to episode 29 of this thing, of the Robbie Basel show. I am your host, Robbie Basel. From the setup you saw, probably from, say, episodes from like 3 to 15 at minimum, I think is what this setup looked like. But yeah, we're back at, I'm back at it again. Of course, it's not weeks. I haven't had a guest yet. You guys haven't seen the videos with the guests yet, so. I filmed one of them. I hopefully will be filming the other two, and now it's going to be actually a third edited video. So there's three original. Now I'm adding a fourth in September. So just a quick update what's going on in early September. Since school's starting up again, and I want to be focusing on classes in the beginning part of the semester, there's going to be 4 edited videos back to back to back to back. And then I go back to the live stuff again. It's going to be Premier League videos coming out first. Then it's NFL season prediction. I believe that could be switched. Those two are definitely going to be 1 and 2. I just don't know what order they're going to be. Then it's going to be Champions League predictions. And then it's going to be the international update. And that'll be a preview of the next 3 months. And then in December, I'll do a recap of it. Or late November, or early December, I'll do a recap of it all. So I have those 4 videos. That's likely going to be the the first 2 weeks of September. Is going to be those videos, and then I'll go back to the live stuff, just so I can get back to the college feeling. Be at Iona for a couple of weeks, just settle back in, and hopefully I'll have those videos ready to go for you guys. There also might be no video next Monday. I have no idea yet. That should be the last one of August. I don't know what the game plan will be for that yet, since I am moving in that day. So there might be a recorded video on Sunday, posted on Monday. I don't know, because honestly, I don't know what I want to do, because I have my first day of class the next day, because that would be the episode. Actually, correction on the 28th. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet. So there could be a video. There might not be a video. And we might go from Friday to the next Friday. And that might be the first edited video you guys see. Should be on September 1st. So the 4th, which will be Labor Day special. What will episode that be? I don't even know. Then the video the 8th and then the 11th. So that should be when the edited videos come out. So 1st, 4th, 8th, 11th should be edited videos, and they go back to the regular content right before Rosh Hashanah on the 15th, excuse me. That's what it looks like for right now. I don't know. But in the meantime, I still have a lot of stuff to talk about with you guys, because until then, are going to be doing the Premier League prediction for the weekend, and of course, we'll be doing the NFL preseason, because there's still a lot to talk about with that. Those are the main 2 things right now. So let's just go into that, shall we? Because why not? We'll begin with the Premier League, and shout out, by the way, to an app I've been starting to use. I recommend, if you are a soccer nerd who wants to look at the stats and look at some predictions and get some interesting notes on some of these matches, I recommend this app. I just found out about it. It's called FootMob. Like I said, highly recommend it. I got all my updates for the Premier League. There was like Champions League qualifying. I downloaded this app 2 days ago, and it's been the most useful app I have on my iPad. So yes, I recommend, other than Instagram, to post stuff for this show. By the way, I was on the J&J show last night with JJ Seglio and Jacob. So I'm hopefully going to link it in the description of this video. So it was a lot of fun. I predicted college football last night. I think we streamed till, I want to say 11:40. So it was like an hour and 20-minute episode. So I'll link it down in the description of this video. So we'll go through some of the Premier League matches, and we'll begin with one that I'm actually very intrigued in for some reason, and that is Liverpool and Bournemouth. So last year, we were introduced to this tie, and Liverpool, first of all, some facts on this, according to FootMob, Liverpool and Bournemouth have not drawn any of their last 8 matches against each other. Liverpool unbeaten in their last 9 home games, and they've also, out of the matches so far, they have tied for 7th in goals scored, 1. So there you go. There's your FootMob stats for Liverpool. And for Bournemouth, they only conceded 1 goal. They've scored 7 goals in the last 5 matches, but they only rank 11th through the first week in shots on target per match, which is 5. Both of these teams drew their opening match. Remember, for those who don't know, Bournemouth opened the season with a nice, boring draw to West Ham, 1-1. And in that match, we saw their best player probably being Joe Rothwell in the midfield. But fun fact, I mean, actually, no, we won't even bring that fact. He didn't play for one of these clubs. So, Bournemouth played okay, and then you go compare it over to Liverpool and how they played their opening match, because they played Chelsea, and we talked about that on Monday. And, like, how they played that match, I'm like, ugh. I mean, they kind of got screwed by the refs. I mean, you can argue a lot of things, but if you look at the FootMob statistics of this match, we saw Salah score. I think he scored the goal for them, right? Salah scored the goal and rocked a 7.3. Disappointing day for Cody Gakpo, rocked a 6.6. Actually, sorry, Diaz had the goal, Salah with the assist. Gakpo with a 6.6, Jota with a 6.8. What are we doing, gentlemen? You had Van Dijk. 7.3 is not that bad. But, not really in many players shining in a game that really would prove both of those teams' legitimacy when Liverpool played Chelsea. I talked about that on Monday. So, now you get to this match. And if you want to look at some history, because this is actually a very fun topic to discuss. Last year, Liverpool played Bournemouth twice. That's how every Premier League team does it. And, to open the season, Liverpool beat Bournemouth 9-0 last year. 9. I'll say it again. 9. On 19 shots with 12 on target. So their goalkeeper, Bournemouth keeper, made 3 saves. I wish I can't go that far back and look at the XG, but my goodness, this match was bad. And then Bournemouth followed it up. But I believe they beat them in the reverse. It's a reverse 1. I think it was a reverse 1-0. Yeah, in March, a reverse 1-0 with a goal by Philip Billing for Bournemouth. You could not make a more interesting match than this, other than out of the 10 o'clock games tomorrow. There's a lot to discuss for that game. There could be. I'll tell you right now. There's either going to be 7 goals or 1. There will be no in between. And that match will be very interesting. Who am I backing to win this match? I think Liverpool does win it by a score of a 3-1. Listen, I like that Liverpool lineup. You cannot doubt Liverpool in this match. I have Liverpool winning 3-1. It's going to be fun, though, that's for sure. One other note for the week, Burnley and Luton Town is postponed. I don't know why. This shows it's being postponed. And then we get to this match. And we're going to go with Wolves and Brighton. The Seagulls and the Wolves. Now, Wolves, last time they played, got screwed by officiating. And you can look at XG. You can watch the highlights of Onana. Everyone thought that should have been a pen, and they didn't give the penalty because listen, VAR, I don't know. I don't know how they didn't call the penalty on that to begin with. But, the past is the past, and people got to move on about it. But at the end of the day, we now have this situation where Brighton scored 4 goals in their opening match when they beat Luton Town 4-1. And then they're going up against Wolves, who conceded 1 goal to United, who are better than Luton Town. So, and they're also better than Brighton. So, Wolves, this match is going to be really weird. I do have Brighton winning 1-0. This match can go so many different ways. This is probably the hardest predictable match in the 10 a.m. slot. Granted, there's 3 matches, but this one's really hard to predict because, according to the FootMob, Brighton, the people who voted on this match, Brighton has a 59% chance to win. Wolves have a 23%, and the drop percentage is 19%. This match screams 1-0 or 0-0 to me. I don't know what it is. Wolves look good against United. I'm interested to see if they can repeat that against Brighton. And then we get to the 12:30 matchup. And we have a matchup between Spurs and United. Of course, United's still without Højlund, which is terrible. But United have not lost to Spurs in their last 5 meetings. United have won 4 and drew 1. And they've also scored 7 goals in the last 5 matches. And for Tottenham, no goalkeeper for them has kept a clean sheet in their last 8 matches. 8. That's unfathomable to me. So, I mean, they're playing pretty well. They played a 2-2 draw in their opening match to Brentford. They're going to lose this match. I have United winning this matchup. I mean, when you have United and look who they threw out, let's look at remind you of who they threw out on the field against Wolves. And this will be the definition of a bounce back. We won Basaka with an 8.2, which, okay. We had Bruno Fernandes 7.4. Rashford got subbed off. That's when you know that match got weird. But the goal was scored by Rafa Varane. So I want to see a forward actually go out there and score. What my scoreline prediction? I'm going to go with a 2-0 to United. Goals by, let's go with Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. Two big stars get goals for United. They should win this. Son maybe can contribute, but listen, Tottenham, they drew Brentford in the opening match, facing a team that's much better than Brentford. However, this match, I believe, is at home for Tottenham. It is at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. So I think this match can go out really either way, but I'm going to go with a 2-0 to United. A couple more matches to talk about. And I'm going to go into Man City and Newcastle. This is, I believe, my game of the weekend. Indeed, it is. This is Robbie Basel's game of the weekend. Man City and Newcastle. Shocker, because this is the best match out of all of them. Newcastle, for those who don't know, won 5-1 against a good Aston Villa side in the season opener at home. And City beat a team that could maybe even be battling for relegation. I don't think they will. In Burnley, the championship side. So, there's a million ways to look at this. But what stood out to me the most, and what could be, because this is the predicted lineup. Ederson, Walker, Akanji, Ake, Gvardiol, Rodri, Kovacic, Foden, Alvarez, Grealish, and Haaland. My question is, why aren't they starting Gvardiol? I don't know. I mean, actually, sorry, they have Gvardiol at left back. Why? I don't know. I don't know anymore. And then when you look at the opposing side, you have Pope in goal with Byrne, Botman, Shaw, Trippier, Tonali, Guimaraes, Joelinton, Gordon, Isak, and Almiron. I love that Newcastle lineup. I really like the right side of Tonali and Almiron. Like, what that lineup can look like is ridiculous. Remember, you also have to note that Silva is doubtful for this match with an illness, and Kevin De Bruyne is out for the foreseeable future. And Zach Steffen, people forget he's even on City at this point. But Eddie Howe's squad's going to throw up a good fight with that 4-3-3. I like Guimaraes. I think Isak's going to net a pair. I think this is going to be a 2-2 draw. Haaland's going to score again. But I think Foden's going to capitalize on one. Him or Grealish, I don't know. I think this is going to be a 2-2 draw. This is going to be a very fun match, though. And it's going to prove that Newcastle may be legit. This is the prove-yourself match for Newcastle. Because who they have next, their schedule, and I talked about this last time, is the worst thing ever. They open with Villa, which I thought was going to be difficult. It wasn't. Then they play City, Liverpool, Brighton. And then you get Brentford, who are not a pushover. And then the two championship teams. Like, if you can go into the two championship team matches in, like, third, they're going to be looking pretty good to make some moves this season. Heading into the next stretch of games after that, you have West Ham, Palace, and Wolves. After the Brentford game, they don't play the opponent that you should be fearing until early November. So a month of matches where you could say, wow, Newcastle, they're not playing a really good side till November after their start to the season. They can be one of the better sides in the Prem solely based on this. Like, if you get 10 points from those matches, say you draw like West Ham or Palace. Palace, I think, actually, no, say they draw Wolves somehow. I don't know. And then you get Arsenal at home. And then you get another tough stretch with Chelsea and United. So, listen, I think this will be a big prove-yourself match. And if they can hold on to this matchup against City, they're going to prove themselves legit to me already. 2-2 draw City in Newcastle. The matchups on Sunday, the one I want to talk about. Do we even have one I want to talk about? Yeah, we'll go into a weird one. A match that no one would think I would talk about. It's the battle of teams that lost their opening matchups. I am not talking about West Ham-Chelsea. That game is going to be a pushover for Chelsea. They're going to win that match 2-0. Self-explanatory. This one I think is more weird. Aston Villa and Everton. Everton, in their opening match, went out and lost to Fulham 1-0 on a goal by Bobby Reed. So, what you're telling me is that Everton can throw out the team they threw on the field against a team like Fulham and only lose 1-0. Okay, maybe they can stay up. People were doubting Everton, saying that they probably won't stay up this season. Could this prove themselves as to make themselves more known out there? That's a question to ask. The team I'm really watching for is Aston Villa, who looked absolutely shambolic on defense. And know how? Let's look at the match ratings, because I love this. Aston Villa, who lost 5-1 and got out XG'd off the field. Let's look at the ratings for them. Their highest rated, they only had 2 players in the green with Watkins and Diaby. Makes sense. Let's go through some of the notable ratings. Konsa, 4.7. Luis, 4.9. Mings, 6.1. Digne's, 5.7. It goes on and on and on and on. Boubacar Kamara, 5. They look shambolic in defense. They looked bad after the 12th minute. Other than like 1 or 2 other opportunities. This is your prove yourself match as well for Villa. People think Villa is going to be this amazing team, but when you get ran off the field by Newcastle like that, there are problems afoot. Because Newcastle can... I think this is another thing about Newcastle. They proved in their opening match they can go out and have it go fully attacking and score 5 goals and actually look good in defense. They've also proven last season that they can play very defensive, get like 1 shot on goal and get a 0-0 draw. They can prove that as well. That's another thing about them. But back to Villa. Unai Emery looked really shambolic. It's weird that Coutinho didn't start. I thought they were going to start Coutinho. But they do have McGinn and Leon Bailey. I doubt Bailey starts. He had a 5.5. You ain't benching your captain unless you're an idiot. So, listen, another prove yourself match for Villa. I think Villa wins this. I think it's going to be 2-1. Sunday morning, I think that's going to be a very interesting match, that's for sure. And then we'll close it off with the last match to preview. I can't go this about previewing the Arsenal match. Last year we saw this match in week 1. They had played when Arsenal played Crystal Palace. That is the matchup on Monday on Peacock. And Arsenal kind of played like how they did in their opening match against Nottingham Forest when they looked not as good against a team like Palace, a team like Nottingham Forest. Now, and then listen, both of these teams won their opening matches. Crystal Palace went out and beat Sheffield despite this. Let's look at that match one real quick, because I didn't get to talk about it last week. And the stats will prove that Crystal Palace out XG'd Sheffield United off the field. Arsenal didn't do that against Forest. And the players to watch out for on Palace, just for those who don't know anything about Crystal Palace, you have to look at Eze, Andre Ayew, Doucouré, and then, of course, their striker, Odsonne Edouard, who I believe scored the goal. He did score the goal that won the match for Crystal Palace. Rocked an 8.6. He was accurate in passing. He looked good in attack. So, if Arsenal can't stop Edouard, then this can be really bad. But in Arsenal's defense, Arsenal just lost Jurrien Timber. This is Crystal Palace's time to strike. So let's look at Arsenal. Let's just go back to their match with Forest, because I hate talking about this, but I think it should be talked about. Arsenal, in the statistics, got out XG'd by Nottingham Forest. This can't happen again. They basically FM'd the system. At the end of the day, Arsenal looked worse to some than Nottingham Forest. Granted, Nottingham Forest got like 2 good chances, and they're both like 0.5 XG each because the defense is good. But I don't know. Arsenal, by the way, had 693 accurate passes. The Nottingham Forest is 137. I forgot to mention that last time. Final predicted result for this match, I have Arsenal winning 3-1. I don't think this match is that self-explanatory. I'm going Arsenal all the way. FootMob poll agrees. 79% of people think Arsenal is going to win. I agree with them. I have Arsenal winning this match. So those are all the matchups to watch out for the Premier League. Of course, by the way, shout out, we have football or soccer is back because you have La Liga. The Bundesliga kicks off this week. I do have a match to watch for in that if you want to watch the Bundesliga. And of course, you can't go this without looking at Bayer Leverkusen and Leipzig. I love this match. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. It's opening week for both of those sides. That's your another big prove your legitimacy match for the two of them. So now it's time for the other football to talk about. NFL preseason. I'm going to continue to talk about this until the season begins because there's a lot of players to discuss about for this. And we opened this week with a tie. This game was miraculous. At one point, for those who don't know, this game at one point was a score of 3-2. I did not stutter and I did not read that wrong. 3-2 in favor of the Eagles. Who are some players to watch out for in the last week of preseason to make the teams for both of those sides? Because there's one player I have for both of those teams. Of course, you can't go this without mentioning Trey Sermon for Philadelphia, who's looked good. He had 5 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. I think he could be like a third-string running back for them. The big one, and everyone's talking about him because he looked really good for 2 straight weeks. 3 straight weeks now, I think, for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. For those who don't know, he's a rookie quarterback drafted out of UCLA. Let's look at his stats from each of these games. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, in his first game against the New York Jets, let's pull this up, please. He played, I believe he played in this match. Hey, he went 8 of 11 for 82 yards. That's not that bad. He threw a touchdown as well. He looked better than Kellen Mond. Week 2 for them. He went out and played Washington. And threw it 9 of 10 for 102. So he's getting progressively better. He also threw a touchdown. He can also move with his legs. I think we've seen that a little bit as well. And then you follow that up, going 13 of 25 for 164 yards. Not only that, but he ran 4 times for 18 yards. He was the third leading rusher for this game for the Browns. He's looked better than Kellen Mond. Granted, Kellen Mond threw a touchdown in this game, and Thompson-Robinson didn't. But man, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you can argue should be the backup quarterback on this team. I think you can make a fair argument for this now. Like, I mean, of course you have Deshaun Watson. Unless I'm forgetting about, so let's look at the Cleveland Browns roster. By the way, while I'm searching up the Cleveland Browns, this could be a good time for you to, if you want to, like and subscribe to the channel. It would be very appreciated. I mean, on the road to more subscribers. You guys motivate me to keep doing this every single week. 2 episodes a week. Hopefully I continue with that. But if you like what you see, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You don't have to if you don't want to. I can't control you. So it's Josh Dobbs, Kellen Mond, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Deshaun Watson. So those are the Browns quarterbacks. I would have Deshaun, Thompson-Robinson, and Mond in that order, keeping the youth behind Deshaun. I mean, there's a lot of interesting players on this team. I'll give them that. I mean, maybe Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the diamond in the rough, in case Deshaun looks really bad. I mean, maybe he can go up and sauce the Titans or something. Because the Titans are another weird one, because Malik Willis has looked good for a couple of games, I believe. Actually, for the first preseason game, Malik Willis looked like a world beater, throwing for almost 200 yards. So what are some other preseason games to watch out for? You can't go this without mentioning the game tonight between the Giants and the Panthers. I talked about this on the J&J show last night. Bryce Young looked, I don't know how to word it. He's playing a not as good defense in the Giants, so I like the Giants' front defensive line a little bit. Not as much as the Jets, though, because I like their depth better. But I'm interested to see who the Giants throw out on the field. I do think Carolina will give the Giants a better run for their money. I do think the Giants win this preseason game now. I'm interested to see in the Jets as well. The New York Jets. they play against the Buccaneers. Now, this week for them has been a mess. They scrapped the second practice, which was apparently agreed to back in March. They've had fights in practice. Everyone's had fights in practice. I hate it. This is why I hate joint practices. And granted, you get a different look against some of these other teams. I think like 90% of them would end in a fight, or like have fights and then go back at it again and then fight each other again. It's like watching a WWE brawl in the middle of a football field, literally. So the Jets, they're going to play Zach Wilson again, and they're going to play Tim Boyle again. Zach Wilson needs to continue to prove himself worthy as the backup quarterback. Maybe even Tim Boyle overjumps in the depth chart. Though I do think Zach Wilson deserves to be the number 2 starter, the backup quarterback on the Jets. Wish he started. What can you do? Aaron Rodgers is there. I can't complain anymore. So the Jets, though, I'm interested to see if they throw more starters out on the field, particularly at the wide receiving group. I said this last night. The Jets should put more lower depth chart guys who are going to be making the team in this game, and then have the higher guys next week. Like, maybe we see Allen Lazard for a little bit next week when they play the Giants. Maybe we see A-Rod against the Giants. A little sneak peek to the little preview for Jets-Giants later in the season. Could we see that next week? But in all seriousness, I want to see more starters from the Jets. You saw Jermaine Johnson. You've seen Bryce Huff on the defense. You see Michael Clemens play one of these games. And then from last year's starters on the offense, the only person you've really seen is Zach Wilson. That I'm remembering. And Michael Carter, I guess, as well. Izzy Abanikanda, who that makes the Jets running room even more interesting. The running back room that they have. I mean, Jets are a weird bunch, someone could say. But right now, this team needs to get it together and go out and win again. I do think the Jets should win this game as well. Not as convincingly as they did with the Panthers, but I'm interested to see who the Bucks throw out at quarterback during this game, because Kyle Trask does not look very good. Maybe you can figure it out. Next one. The battle of the somewhat flashy quarterbacks that are young. I didn't think I'd be talking about this game until I found out who's going to be playing this. Justin Fields and the Bears against Anthony Richardson and the Colts, I think could be fun. I hope we see both of them start, just to see what it's like to watch a QB1 face a QB1 for the first time that I would watch this. The Jets game goes to crap tomorrow. I'd watch that for sure. There's a lot of other interesting games as well. I mean, but going at the Bears-Colts, I want to see. I mean, Anthony Richardson made one of the most ridiculous throws I've ever seen in a practice recently. So I'm interested to see how he looks against against a team like the Bears. Last week he went up against the Bills, who have a very good defense. Now you're going up against the Bears, who have a new look defense. Interested to see how he adjusts from his previous matchup. I mean, there's a lot of other games. Minnesota and Tennessee, maybe we see Malik Willis play. Dolphins, Texans, C.J. Stroud needs to rebound. The Dolphins' defense is a mess. The Dolphins also may lose Teron Armstead to get an injury, though they think he'll be back for week 1. Another rookie quarterback to look at, if I can find the team, unless I'm blind. No, they're not there. We talked about 3 of them. Packers, Patriots. This was another game I wanted to talk about. Because I want to see Jordan Love play the Patriots again. Play the Patriots. I'm interested to see how that would look. I'm interested to see how he will play against a team that could arguably have one of the best defenses in the AFC. If they had a better offense, the Patriots could be playoff contenders. That's what everyone's going to say until the season begins. Understand that. But maybe Bailey Zappi goes crazy again against the Packers. Who knows? There's a lot of possibilities that can happen with this game. I mean, you guys know probably a little more about preseason than I do, but maybe we see Malik Cunningham go crazy again for the Patriots. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but I mean, that game I feel like we ended by 3 points. The gap would be 3 points. Who do I have winning? No idea. Raiders-Rams is also going to be fun. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. A lot of weird times for these games. And we have Stetson Bennett and the Rams going up against, I don't even know who the Raiders would throw out at quarterback. Stetson Bennett last week. Here's a guy who I didn't talk about last week. Stetson Bennett, who went 17 to 29 for 191 yards and a touchdown. Could he actually be the legitimate backup for the Rams? Oh, I mean, they have Brett Ripien and Stetson Bennett. I think I know who I would have at backup quarterback there. Of course, it's Brett. I'm kidding. It's Stetson Bennett. But the old man, the old rookie. That's what they'll call him for this season. The old rookie, Stetson Bennett. He'll go up against the Raiders. I think he'll run them off the field. That'll be fun to watch. And then you go up against, you have other matchups like Broncos, Niners, Saints, Chargers, Cowboys, Seahawks. Cowboys, Seahawks, I want to see if Deuce Vaughn goes crazy against the Seahawks defense. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, and Bengals, Falcons, Jaguars, Lions. There's a lot of good games this week in the preseason. A lot of young guys who are going to prove that who want to prove themselves. I mean, how many starters will we see? What bench players will emerge? That's the question I have for this week. But unfortunately, that is all the time I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure to, once again, to like the video, subscribe to the channel, maybe even leave a comment for what you want to see on Monday. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye, everyone.